London is closing down 40 underground tube stations in its fight against the coronavirus. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been under tremendous pressure to try and cool down things, economic activity, to make sure that there is no community transmission. And some steps now are being taken. Some tube stations are being closed. At the same time, the lifeline of London in terms of its underground continues, as many stations do continue to be functional. In India, there are reports that the Indian government is now proposing to close its airspace for a whole week. So there will be no international flights that will be allowed to land in India for a week beginning this Sunday. So I guess people who need to go to India should rush rather quickly. Minister of State for Health Ashwini Kumar Chaubey in India says that it is good for people to go and stand in the sun for at least 15-20 minutes, especially between 11 a.m. and 12 noon, as this time the rays of the sun are direct, and any person can get a lot of vitamin D, which can help in the fight against coronavirus. Now, medically speaking, the rays of the sun are very good to add to vitamin D. By getting the sun rays, you can add a lot of vitamin D, which ordinarily you may struggle to get out of a vitamin D tablet. At the same time, there is no real proof or evidence so far that merely taking the rays of the sun can help you in avoiding the virus, the coronavirus. So take it with a grain of salt, friends. Going further, Bill Ackman created quite a lot of sensation yesterday. He has called upon the US government and other governments around the world to close down the whole world for a whole month to be able to tackle the coronavirus. So it's like hell is coming. And the words of Bill seem to be rather catastrophic. The world seemed to be quite trembling at just hearing his talk about the amount of catastrophe that could be ready to fall if the world is not shut down for 30 days at a minimum. White House was also quick to react that we are doing our best to take care of the citizens, and therefore one must realize that people like Bill Ackman must be in deep distress with such a sudden sharp fall in stock market, and he's CEO of Pershing Square, makes money out of Wall Street. Naturally, seeing the stock market plummeting must be a worried man. And he says that, well, if the vaccine is found, then the stocks could rebound like hell. So you find hell both ways, on the way down and up. I think just take his words as well with a grain of salt. There is a problem of coronavirus, but you need to flatten the curve. Now, what does flattening the curve mean? That community transmission needs to be stopped. The way to do it is social distancing. When two people walk, they need to walk at a distance, at least a 1 meter distance from each other. And secondly, avoid crowded places, so neither you contract nor you give your virus to somebody else. That's the way you act, which is socially responsible in this difficult time. So stock markets have been again experiencing a downfall today. But if you would have seen in Asia, Europe, the downfall has been arrested to quite an extent. It does appear that United States Dow Jones will appear negative once again, but I believe it will claw back and do decently tonight. Tomorrow, I believe, should be an okay day for world stock markets. There will be extremes, extreme rise, extreme fall. Net, I think, reasonably flat. You'll find both Asia and United States and Europe. So don't be too concerned. Be more concerned about safety measures that you need to take at home. Ordinarily, it would be a great time sitting at home to worship. Pray to God for better economic circumstances. Unemployment levels which had sunk to 40-year lows as far as United States went, is now going to show signs of rising unemployment now. After a long period of time, you'll see that the US unemployment has begun to rise once again. That's not a very good thing, but do understand events like a coronavirus are a black swan event and they need to be perceived accordingly. So, interesting days ahead for the world stock markets. In India, you have even the train services being curtailed, and private offices have been requested by the government to work at almost 50% capacity. So this is how you stop the community transmission, and the social distancing plays such an important part, and before you know, the virus will be out. I personally think that in India you will not find it last very long as far as other parts of the world are concerned. So it should be a couple of months before a proper adequate cure comes about sometime in June or so. So till that time, everybody needs to take precautions. Do not panic. Do not hoard things because you're depriving others who may need it as well. At the same time, the governments are on a war footing. Federal Reserve and central banks are in coordinated action. They are buying bonds, they are buying bills. They're trying to make sure that the liquidity is rampant in every part of the world. So it's going to be important, but do realize that merely ensuring liquidity is strong does not by itself ensure a good economy. It can only go and add to a stock market rally once again. So you may see that financial assets start rising. That per se or that by itself cannot lead to a healthy world economy. But be careful. So it does appear Wall Street may appear open low, but I believe on the whole it should be all right for the markets today. And tomorrow, after taking into consideration the pluses and the minuses, I think should be a reasonably flat day for both Asia and for the rest of the world, including the United States and Europe. Happy investing. Take care. Bye-bye.